The information presented is for informational purposes only. The opinions expressed are not necessarily the opinions of any Daikin company. This information should not be confused for accounting, legal, medical, or other professional advice. Please seek advice from a qualified professional for any specific questions.
Welcome to the Accelerated HVAC Success program. My name is Ben Middleton. I'm the National Sales Training Manager for the Goodman, Amana, and Daikin brands. Today, we're joined with Yateen Sukhtankar, and he's the Product Manager for Residential Split Systems. Yateen, thank you so much for joining us. There are a lot of changes going on in terms of regulatory policy, and we've got one that's happening in January 1st of 2024. That specifically impacts air handlers, correct?
That's correct.
So tell us a little bit about this change and what's happening.
Of course. First of all, thank you, Ben, for having me here. So starting January 1st, 2024, the regulatory change that's kicking into effect is called the UL2-40 Standard, right? So what the UL2-40 Standard is all about, it's about stringent and more stricter safety standards that need to be developed and implemented into the air handler product. So what the change is going to bring to the air handlers is, although physically nothing from a component perspective or the operation perspective, nothing really changes within the air handlers. What is just changing is the way we test the air handlers and way the air handlers kind of fall within the testing parameters that the industry demands. The biggest change that is happening with the air handlers comes with the heat kit accessory, which is predominantly installed in the field for the multi-position air handlers that go into single-family homes. So the current air handlers and the current heat kits are certified with the UL standard. Starting January 1st, 2024, these standards kind of upgrade themselves to the new UL 60335 2-40. That's the whole name for the standard, but in short, we just call it UL 2-40. So what it means was there had to be higher fail-safe standards or limits set into the heat kits so that they are much safer than what they are even today. So in order to kind of be in compliance with the change, we had to make certain changes to the heat kits, which brings us to the change points for what's happening. So we have a major revision change that's happening to the air handlers and new heat kits that are going to be paired with the air handlers. So what's going to happen starting January 2024 is, even though if there is any unsold inventory of the current air handlers and heat kits, you can still install those into 2024. But as the OEM, as the manufacturer, we can no longer produce these air handlers. So starting January 2024, we start shipping out new air handlers. And what our customers need to be careful of is they need to be aware of the fact that the new air handlers only pair with the new heat kits. So long story short, current air handlers with current heat kits, new air handlers with new heat kits. Again, to sum everything up, from a functionality standpoint, from an installation standpoint, from an operational standpoint, nothing really changes. We just made some changes to these heat kits in order to comply with the new testing standards. And as I said, current heat kits go with current air handlers, and new heat kits are only compatible with the new air handlers. So that's the short of what's happening with the air handlers.
I'm sure lots of people that are listening are wondering, okay, what exactly was the change? Do you have any more detail as far as what that new standard, what is it changing in the heat kits themselves? I mean, I know you said there's not going to be much of a noticeable difference, but what was the technical change that needed to happen?
Yeah. So again, if you take a step back, the UL is obviously a government certified agency that sets regulations in place. So as I said, this year it's more about more stringent safety standards. So which means that the heat kits had to have a higher fail-safe rating that they currently have. So in order to meet with that regulation, we had to change the limit switches that go in the heat kits.
Okay.
And of course, with the change in limit switches, we had to change the wire gauges and the material that's used in making these wires. So that's why I said physically point-to-point wiring, the way the heat kits are installed doesn't change, but the internal construction itself that goes out to the field, that's what's changing. So the way you install these heat kits remain the same. The way the heat kits operate remains the same. You can just say that these are even more fail-safe than the current ones. Again, nothing wrong with the current heat kits. The new standards just say that the standard was here and now it's up here. So it's just a better design, a better construction, but functionally and operationally, nothing really changes.
So you said it's a revision standard that's going to change. So the model numbers are still going to stay the same, and it's the same ones that everybody's been ordering to
Yes.
have the matchups that they've been looking for and that they've been currently putting in. None of that stuff is really going to change.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's the reason why there might be some confusion in the field as far as, can the current heat kits be installed in the new units? Can the new heat kits be installed in the current units? The short answer is no, and that's why I kind of mentioned before. All you need to know is current heat kits, current air handlers, new heat kits, new air handlers. It's as simple as that. But I do understand that there might be some confusion out in the field with respect to that.
Absolutely. So, in terms of regulatory changes, there is a lot of stuff that we see in motion going on right now. Are there any other things that are impacting air handlers as we continue to move into 2024 and maybe even beyond 2024?
So, great question. So starting January 2024, as I said, the biggest change is going to be the compliance with the UL2-40 standards. But everybody knows, as we get deeper into 2024, more closer to 2025, we have the A2L refrigerant change that's coming up, right? And obviously, it's not just Daikin, it's every OEM that has to comply with the A2L regulations to have the A2L refrigerant in their product. Obviously, the refrigerant of choice for Daikin is R32, as you know. It was a refrigerant that was kind of brought into the market by Daikin. So Daikin kind of has a lot of pride in promoting R32. And obviously, our products will be designed to comply with the refrigerant. So as we go deeper into 2024, we will be launching products that are A2L compliant, and the Daikin products will obviously work with the R32 refrigerant. So that's going to be the next biggest change that you're going to see, not just in the air handlers, but in the entire split system industry, as well as the commercial products that we have.
And I'm sure we'll have you, as we continue to move through 2024, we'll have you back on other episodes and we can start talking about some of those changes and some of the things people need to look at as they're matching up the systems with the new A2L refrigerants that as they become available and for contractors to put in. Switching gears a little bit, you've got some exciting news in terms of product, and this is something our customers have been asking for a long time, but because we're making some changes, share a little bit about the exciting news that we got coming up with our air handlers.
Definitely, and that's the whole reason of being here and communicating to our customers and to the field what Daikin is all about, right? So before we go into the new product launch and what Daikin is offering as far as the new air handler products, let's take a step back to where all this is starting from and the culmination point being this new product launch, right? So let's take a step back to 2016. So what really happened in 2016 is the countries all over the world signed the Paris Accord, right? And what the Paris Accord was all about was taking a strong step towards solving the climate crisis, right? Global warming is true. Global warming is a problem. And all the big countries stepped up and said, we need to do something about it, right? So that's why in 2016, all the big nations signed this Paris Accord. And what the Paris Accord is all about is going to a net carbon zero emission stage by 2050. So in order to get to a net neutral carbon emission position in 2050, the realistic target should be by 2030, we should be at least 50% carbon neutral, meaning whatever carbon emission levels we have today, we should be half of that at 2030. And that would be a stepping stone to get to zero carbon emission in 2050, right? So there were a couple of things that everybody had to decide. And what's the best way about going to, or what's going to help getting carbon emissions or the global greenhouse gas emission considerably lower was obviously reducing our dependence on fossil fuels, right? Now, let's take, for example, our gas furnaces. Gas furnaces take or utilize natural gas. There are carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide emissions, and these are some of the pollutants that kind of contribute towards the global warming problem that we have, right? So in order to take a positive step towards reducing these emissions, we as Daikin, as the leader in HVAC technology, have decided to move towards more and more products that utilize heat pumps. And what heat pumps are all about is obviously using electricity to produce the heat that's required to satisfy whatever your demand might be in your house, and lessening your dependence on products like gas furnaces or other products that utilize natural resources like oil or natural gas and other things. So heat pumps are the future. Daikin firmly believes in this. In 2022, uh, even before going to 2022, typically, if you look at the industry currently as it is, 65% of our products that we sell are ACs. And it's not just Daikin, it's the industry. So every other OEM, all the total sales combined in the country, we are in a market where we are currently at a 65% AC, 35% heat pump from a sales perspective. 2022 was the first year where heat pumps outsold gas furnaces. So 2022 can be considered as a tipping point where you can slowly see the needle moving more towards heat pumps. In the next couple of years, we kind of expect that number to be 60-40, 40% heat pumps, 60% AC. So what I'm trying to tell here is as we go more and more and more into the future, you're going to see more and more heat pumps being sold and less the dependency on the gas furnace product. All of this information kind of leads to why we are developing the products that we have today. And the most exciting news that I have to put out to our customers and to you as well is we have launched, or we are in the process of launching, a 115 volt air handler. Now, why is this exciting, right? Obviously, we've had air handlers in the market for years and years, but typically an air handler powers off of a 230 volt connection. By allowing a 115 volt air handler, it does two massive things in order to accelerate heat pump promotion and kind of make an impact on this greenhouse gas reduction effect. Let's say if you have a AC and a furnace system in your house today, and you decide, you know what, I want to make a positive impact on the climate crisis, and I want to switch to a heat pump and air handler, a product that will utilize electricity instead of natural resources to do the heating, right? Great choice. But now, in order to switch your furnace to an air handler, you will have to do a lot more electrical work because your furnace powers off of a 115 volt connection, and the heat and the air handler requires a 230 volt connection, right? So even if you want to make the change, even if you want to make the right decision, it's going to cost you money to kind of get that change in effect. So now, by having this 115 volt air handler, you can switch out your AC and furnace to a heat pump and air handler combination and not have to do any additional work when it comes to electricity or adding any breakers to your panel or any additional wiring that can cost you easily up to $2,500 or $3,000 depending on what part of the country you're in. So by developing this 115 volt air handler, not only are you taking a positive step towards getting yourself lined up with the goal of the country and the nation to be carbon net neutral in the future, but now you are also having a much more efficient system for your heating purposes and not having to do the extra work of doing any electrical changes to your breakers or panels. And that's what we are excited to launch. What makes it first of its kind is the fact that some of our competition does have 115 volt air handlers, but none of them are inverter compatible, right? So the 115 volt air handler that we are launching pairs with our Daikin Fit systems and all our side discharge product, right? So now you are getting the most efficient product, and also in a system that matches your heat pump and air handlers without having the hassle of working on electrical panels and making changes and unnecessarily putting more expenses in your pocket. So that's what we are here to announce to the world, that, hey, here's Daikin, and here's why Daikin is number one in terms of innovation. We have the first of its kind product, which is a side discharge invertible compatible 115 volt air handler. And that's the gist of it.
That's really exciting news. When is that going to be available for contractors to start seeing and putting in, and where can they go to get materials such as specification sheets and other information on that product?
So as far as the launch process is concerned, we are in the very final stages of having this product ready to be shipped. Starting January 2024, this product will be available to be shipped out. So our customers, dealers, distributors should already be seeing these products being advertised on our websites. As far as technical specifications, spec sheets, all the data that is required is already published on our websites across all three brands. And yeah, this is a product that's been asked for quite a while from our customers. And finally, we are happy to say that here's the product that you needed for all of this time.
Yateen, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you coming on board. Do you have any final words that you want to share for our audience?
Again, first of all, thank you for having me here. What I want to say as an ending note is a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
Right? So I have been with Daikin for a little over 12 years now. And I got this fantastic opportunity to work as an intern here, fresh out of school. So I got to see the HVAC world firsthand as an intern, and it was a really good learning experience for me. Back when I started interning, I was on the manufacturing side of things. I started as a quality engineering intern, which led to a full-time quality engineer job. So for the most part of my career within Daikin, I was a quality engineer. So my job was to make sure that we are making products to the best of our abilities in terms of quality, performance, efficiency, so on and so forth. So I take great pride in the fact that Daikin is the number one HVAC innovator in the world. And we take pride on the fact that we have the industry-leading warranties that we back our products with. And the reason I say all of this is I have seen it firsthand from a manufacturing perspective as well, as far as what kind of an effort we put into making our products. And now as a product manager in the marketing side of things, I get to see the benefits of it when our customers install these units and they are kind of taken aback by the change in the performance or the change in quality compared to whatever product they had beforehand. So having that manufacturing background and now seeing culminate into the marketing side of things, where I see what happens out in the field, what happens with our customers, gives me a holistic kind of overview on what the company is all about, how we take care of our customers, how we pride ourselves in building the best product, building the latest cutting edge technology product out there. And that's what makes Daikin number one. So I'm so proud of being here at Daikin, and hope to see you again with more exciting news about more products.
Absolutely. We hope to have you here again. And again, for all of you that are out there, please, if you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to go ahead and like it so that we can bring more of these episodes to you. And please follow us so that you can be informed of all of the upcoming episodes that we have, that will keep you informed on all of the latest trends within the industry and the things that Daikin is doing to be able to help consumers and to be able to help the world as we look at all of our goals that we have towards sustainability. Yateen, thank you so much for joining us and coming here.
Of course, Ben. Thank you so much.